The millionaire widow catches his baby nursing the babysitter. What happens next is unbelievable. Evelyn Harper hadn't planned to come back to the estate this evening. Not on a biting October night, when the wind howled through the dark, ancient trees like lost souls. But something pulled her back, a strange urge she couldn't explain. The grand manor loomed ahead, its stone walls cloaked in shadow, windows glowing faintly with candlelight flickering inside. Since her husband's death months ago, the house had whispered with silence, memories hovering like ghosts. She pushed open the heavy oak door. Her shoes echoed hollowly across the marble floor. Every corner, every rich velvet curtain, every glint of antique brass seemed frozen in time, waiting. And then, in the nursery, the scene hit her like a thunderbolt. There, in the amber glow of a single candle, was little Thomas, her infant son. But not where she thought he'd be. Not miles away in the city nursery, cared for by distant relatives. Instead, he was nestled close to a young woman, Mia, the new babysitter Evelyn barely knew. And Mia was gently nursing him. Her breath caught, heart slammed, chest tightened so hard it felt like a vice. Who was this girl? Why was she feeding her baby? Evelyn's sharp gaze locked onto Mia's soft, calm face. A face that suddenly felt like a riddle. Mia didn't jump or flinch. She held the moment steady, eyes steady, unafraid. Why? Evelyn's voice cracked. The single word shattered the silence. Mia whispered something almost too low to hear. A secret carried in shadows. A secret that sent Evelyn's mind spinning. Words that hinted at her late husband's hidden plan. A pact. A quiet rebellion against what Evelyn thought she knew about her marriage, about her son's future. The manor walls seemed to lean in, listening. The flickering candlelight painted strange shapes on Mia's face. Half truth, half lie. Evelyn's hands trembled, the fragile grip of composure slipping away. The baby stirred against the warmth, unaware of the storm blazing nearby. A pulse pounded in Evelyn's ears. 1,000 questions flashed like lightning. Why had Thomas been hidden here? What had her husband been protecting? What tangled web had tied Mia to him, wrapped around their family in darkness? This wasn't just a surprise, it was an unraveling. Outside, the wind howled louder. Inside, Evelyn's world tilted, fractured between grief, fear, and a fierce new resolve. She realized this fragile moment could change everything. Her trust, her fate, the very life of her son. Mia's calm seemed almost an offer, an invitation into an unknown maze where loyalty and lies blurred. Evelyn felt the weight of unseen eyes behind every curtain, every whisper in the hall. Her gut burned with the cold truth. Tonight marked the start of something fierce, something she had to fight through. And deep down, a shiver of fear ran alongside the flame of determination in her veins. What secret does Mia hold? What truth lurks beneath the polished surfaces of wealth and sorrow? Evelyn took a slow, trembling breath, standing on the edge of a mystery darker than the night outside, the kind that could shatter everything she thought was real. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Evelyn took a slow, trembling breath, standing on the edge of a mystery darker than the night outside, the kind that could shatter everything she thought was real. The shadows in the room felt alive, swirling around her, pressing close as if trying to swaddle her in a storm of confusion. She glanced at Thomas, still nestled against Mia, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing just a few feet away. Then, all at once, the delicate silence fractured with the sound of a door slamming shut somewhere in the house. Evelyn's heart raced. What was that? she whispered, eyes darting toward the doorway. Mia's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of fear crossing her calm demeanor. You shouldn't be here, she murmured, her voice barely audible over the rush of blood in Evelyn's ears. Why? The question was raw, torn from her throat. What's going on? Just then, another loud noise echoed through the manor, more of a crash than a slam. The sound bounced off the walls, sending a chain reaction of dread through Evelyn. And in that moment, something shifted. The very air around her thickened, pulsing with an unsteady energy. Evelyn's options narrowed. I need to know, Mia. What are you hiding? But before Mia could respond, a figure loomed in the doorway, massive, dark, and a stark silhouette against the dim light. Caught off guard, Evelyn squinted, heart leaping into her throat. Evelyn! The voice was deep and dangerously familiar. It belonged to Jonathan, her husband. But how? He had been dead. The word clawed at her mind. He stepped into the room, a ghost brought to life, eyes glinting under the candlelight with an unsettling mixture of fondness and something darker. You shouldn't have come back, he said softly, a smile twisting his lips. Time stilled. Evelyn's chest felt like lead. What? How are you here? Her voice cracked, disbelief flooding every inch of her. Jonathan's gaze shifted past her to the scene on the floor. Mia, he said calmly, his tone rich with authority. You've done well. Evelyn's brain spun. The odds were spinning out of control. Well? She's feeding our son. Why is she doing this? Why are you alive? But all Jonathan did was chuckle lowly, sending shivers racing down her spine. You never understood, did you? I was protecting you, us. There's so much more at stake than you realize. Mia's eyes darted back and forth, a storm brewing beneath her calm facade. We have to tell her the truth, Jonathan. She pressed, her voice trembling now. Evelyn could hardly breathe. Each word felt like a blow. What truth? Jonathan stepped closer, each stride filled with an eerie confidence that sent Evelyn's skin prickling. This isn't just about you or me. It's about Thomas and the legacy we've built. She felt a heaviness in the words, a shroud of secrecy thick enough to suffocate. What legacy? A lump formed in her throat, fear and rage bubbling just beneath the surface. What did you do? The walls of the nursery felt like they were closing in, shadows dancing across Jonathan's face. He smirked, the candlelight casting a sinister glow in his eyes. You're about to find out, Evelyn, but you may not like what you hear. A sudden sharp crack echoed from behind him, a picture frame falling, shattering like her sense of reality. The pieces scattered across the floor in disarray. But all Evelyn could focus on was the weight of Jonathan's gaze, promising truths that felt impossibly heavy. Wait, she gasped, scrambling to piece together the fragments of her crumbling world. What have you done? We've done what was necessary to protect the family. She felt her heart skip. Fear clawed at her insides. The shadows had transformed, holding secrets that could unravel everything she thought she knew. And as Jonathan's lips curled into a knowing smile, Evelyn's world cracked open, the air thick with uncertainty. What would the truth reveal about the man she thought she knew, and the life she had built? Piece by piece, Evelyn's world tilted on its axis, caught between disbelief and horror. Jonathan's presence felt wrong, a nightmare pressing against her reality. She took a step back, heart hammering, desperate to understand. What do you mean protecting? She gasped, each word tumbling from her lips, raw and unrefined. What have you done? The shadows danced around them, a flickering theater of stark emotions. An unsettling mixture of warmth and menace. You weren't supposed to find out this way, he said, his voice low, slithering through the air. Mia shifted beside him, the child still cradled in her arms. Evelyn, please. Her voice trembled now, echoing Evelyn's rising anxiety. This truth is bigger than us. Evelyn's skin prickled. Bigger than what? You're both acting like it's all some terrible game. Just then, Another crash reverberated in the hall. Louder this time, a thundering sound that shook the walls. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat as a shadow darted past the nursery door. The atmosphere thickened, panic rising like a tide. "Stay back," she cried, protecting Thomas instinctively. Jonathan's chuckle filled the air again, an ominous sound that crawled under her skin. "You really don't understand, do you? The stakes have never been higher." Suddenly, the heavy oaken door burst open. A dark figure emerged, gasping for breath. Evelyn squinted, straining to recognize the shape in the dim light. As the figure stepped closer, her heart dropped. It was Liam, her husband's brother, and a man she never expected to see in this moment. "Evelyn," Liam shouted, eyes wild with fear, "you need to get out of here." "What are you doing?" she stammered, confusion raging in her chest. This wasn't the reunion she had imagined. Jonathan's expression twisted with anger. "You shouldn't have come, Liam. This isn't your business." Liam didn't flinch. "No, but it is hers. You've crossed a line, Jonathan. You need to tell her the truth." His voice rose, shaking with urgency. "What truth?" Evelyn demanded, heart pounding, in sync with her breaths. Liam locked eyes with her, pain swimming in his gaze. "Evelyn, you're not the only one who lost someone that night. It's not only your life that's built on lies." Evelyn felt the room spin, shadows closing in on her. "What do you mean?" But before he could answer, Jonathan stepped forward, eyes blazing. "Enough. You don't get to decide what she knows. You're just jealous, Liam." "Jealous?" Liam shot back, refusing to back down. "At least I'm not playing God with people's lives. You've made a pact with dark forces to keep your secrets clean, and he pointed to Mia, still clutching Thomas as if he were the world. "She's part of it because she knows." Evelyn felt her world shatter, the pieces flying in every direction. What does she know? Then it hit her. The pieces clicked into place, her brain racing through the chaos. "Mia, you have a connection to this family, don't you? Something deeper?" Mia's mouth opened, but before she could speak, another loud crash erupted from the hallway. This time, it was followed by a scream, distant but chilling. The sound sliced through the air like glass shattering. "Get down," Jonathan yelled, but it was too late. The floorboards vibrated with a heavy thud as a shadowy figure rushed into the room. A man, cloaked in darkness, face obscured. He lunged at Jonathan, the air thick with an electric tension that sent shockwaves through Evelyn's body. "Stop the lies," the man shouted, grappling with her husband. Evelyn stood frozen, terror gripping her heart. Who was this intruder? What secrets did Jonathan hide? And why had Liam suddenly thrown everything into chaos? "Run," Liam shouted, pushing her towards the door. But Evelyn's feet felt glued to the ground, her eyes wide, searching for answers in the confusion. The room erupted into chaos, voices blurring into chaos. Shadows collided, and Evelyn felt the truth slip further from her grasp. What she thought she knew was crumbling before her, leaving her on the edge of an abyss, a question burning in the air. What was the legacy built on these shattered lives? Evelyn stood frozen, mind racing, as chaos erupted around her. Jonathan, the man she had mourned, now stood alive, smiling darkly. Liam's urgent voice echoed in her ears, but all she could focus on was the tense grip of the shadows, the unmistakable threat that had come for her family. "Get out!" Liam shouted again, leaning to grab her wrist, his eyes wide with a mix of desperation and fear. "You need to run." But she couldn't move. Jonathan's presence was a heavy weight pressing down on her, a truth that twisted and turned like a knife in her gut. How could he be here? "Liam, what is happening?" she cried, her heart pounding against her ribs like a frantic bird trying to escape. "Everything we thought we knew." Liam's voice broke, and he glanced at Jonathan with undisguised anger. "You need to see the bigger picture, Evelyn. He's not who you think." Before she could respond, the shadowy figure behind Jonathan lunged again, grappling with him. This was no ordinary fight. It felt like a battle for something far more precious. The dim light flicked, shadows dancing wildly, swallowing the room in disarray. So many lies. The figure shouted, his voice raw and desperate. You've played with fire, Jonathan. Evelyn's heart raced, raw panic boiling up. The truth was coming apart at the seams. Who are you? She gasped. But in the chaos, Jonathan managed to push the intruder away. For just a moment, the tension retracted. You should have stayed away, Liam, he yelled, eyes blazing like hot coals. Then, before anyone could comprehend, a gunshot screamed through the air, sharp, jarring, echoing in the confined space. Evelyn felt the shock wave hit her, a cold grip of terror closing around her throat. Jonathan's eyes went wide, his expression shifting from anger to disbelief. He stumbled back, touching his chest, confusion turning to horror. "John!" Evelyn gasped, reaching out as Jonathan crumpled to the floor. The shock registered in slow motion, colors blending around her, reality cracking wide open. "Evelyn, don't," Liam warned, but the urgency in his voice faded as he dropped to Jonathan's side, pressing his hands against the blood that blossomed beneath him. A surreal quiet flooded the room. The chaos momentarily paused. The darkness felt alive, terrifyingly tangible. "Get the baby," Jonathan croaked, panic flickering behind his eyes. Mia, still clutching Thomas, stood paralyzed, horror etched across her face. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," she whispered, backing away slowly. Evelyn felt the ground beneath her shift, acids of despair and confusion swirling in her gut. "What did you do, Jonathan?" Her voice faltered, the question leaving her throat like a strangled sob. He reached for her, blood seeping through his fingers, time twisted around them, the edges of reality blurring. "I was trying to protect." Another loud crash thundered behind them, shattering the uneasy silence. A door burst open, and figures poured in, shrouded. In darkness, more shadows wanting more secrets. They had come to collect. "Take her," one of them shouted, pointing directly at Evelyn. "Evelyn, run," Liam urged again. But she was frozen, caught between the dying breaths of her husband and the storm of chaos that encircled her. Suddenly, Mia's eyes widened as she recoiled, revealing a hidden scar on her arm in the flickering light. A mark shaped like a serpent, glistening ominously against her skin. "No, this can't be," she breathed, fear rippling through her voice. "Why do you have that?" Evelyn's voice was barely a whisper, a fragile thread woven with dread. Mia's face twisted with pain, realization dawning in her eyes. "Because I'm not just the babysitter. I'm part of the pact." Too, a daughter of it all. And now, so is Thomas. The sheer weight of her words hit Evelyn like freezing rain. Time stretched to its breaking point, emotions crashing and swirling like a storm. What did that mean for her child? What legacy had they begun? The room erupted again, voices mingling in a cacophony of fear and desperation. Shadows pressed in as the air thickened with a chilling realization. She was trapped in the very heart of the storm. And in that moment, as she met Liam's pleading gaze, unanswered questions lay heavy in the air. What truth lay in the deeper shadows? How was she supposed to save her son from a legacy built on blood and darkness? Evelyn stood motionless, her heart racing, the chaos around her folding in on itself. Jonathan lay on the floor, his breath shallow and labored, while shadows danced menacingly in the corners. Liam's eyes were frantic, tapering back to the dark figure who seemed to loom larger, more menacing by the second. "Evelyn, you have to trust me," Liam shouted, panic suffusing his voice. He crouched by Jonathan, desperately pressing his hands against the blood pooling beneath him. "Mia, please." Evelyn turned, searching Mia's face. "What is happening? What do you know?" Mia's pale face glimmered under the dim light, fear etched across her features. I thought he was protecting us. I thought," her voice quivered, her grip tightening around Thomas. "But this is bigger than we imagined." The confrontation was electric, tension thrumming through the air like a live wire. And then, with a sudden clarity, Evelyn felt a chill wrap around her spine. It was as though shadows shifted closer, tuning into something that lurked just beyond their perception. In an instant, it became unbearable. The dark figure lunged again. This time it managed to disarm Jonathan, who struggled valiantly against the grip. "Enough," the figure thundered, his voice booming with ominous authority. Evelyn's mind raced. In that brief moment, she realized that they weren't just fighting for their lives. They were battling for the truth itself. "Stop!" she screamed. Were sharp, almost too piercing. In that heartbeat, recognition flickered in Evelyn's mind. She stepped forward, heart pounding. "Wait, you're not a stranger," she whispered. "Who are you?" He chuckled darkly, the sound echoing off the mirrored walls. "Not a stranger, darling. I'm family." "Family?" Every ounce of collected dread surged in Evelyn as she struggled to piece it together. How? What did he mean? Then it hit her like a lightning bolt. Her mind raced back to old family portraits, distant memories trapped in time. "No, it can't be." "Surprised to see your long-lost uncle?" he smirked, satisfaction dripping from each word. Evelyn's stomach twisted. You died years ago. That can't be true." She glanced at Jonathan, who was moments from passing out. "You told me he was dead. You lied to me." "Did I?" He let out a low chuckle. "Death is simply a matter of perspective. And Jonathan? He thought he could keep the family legacy from you. But I'm here to ensure you inherit what is rightfully yours." "What is mine?" "Control," he spat, the darkness surrounding him almost palpable. "What you don't understand is that this was never just about you, Evelyn. It's about a power that runs deep in our blood, a legacy cloaked in shadows." Evelyn's breaths came fast as she processed his words. She felt an unbearable pain twist inside. What power? What does it mean for Thomas? Her mind whirled, fear and anger sparking inside her. Everything. A horrific realization clawed its way up her spine. This was bigger than she could have ever imagined. The room felt like a trap, the air thickening with danger. And as another loud crash echoed from the hallway, shadows beckoned closer, thickening into shapes that seemed to promise secrets and betrayals unraveling. "I'll expose you," Evelyn said, defiance bubbling in her heart. But before she could voice another thought, the figure gestured sharply, and suddenly a jet of cold air swept through the room. He thrust a hand toward Liam, sending him crashing against the wall. "You can't escape, dear niece. Just know the truth will find you, just like it found Jonathan." In that instant, Evelyn's world shifted with a tremor, every connection dangling on the end. "Edge." "Evelyn," Liam gasped, pulling himself back up. "Don't trust him." But Evelyn felt the shadows close in, threatening to swallow them whole. A legacy of darkness was surfacing, and with it, a question loomed larger than all the fears combined. What legacy lurked in her blood, and at what cost would it demand to be claimed? Evelyn's heart raced as her uncle's words plunged into her, cold and sharp as ice. "Family," she echoed, disbelief coating each syllable. "No, this can't be true." Her mind screamed with confusion, every thread of her reality unraveling. And yet, in the stillness that followed, something shifted in the shadows. She felt it first, a subtle change in the air, electric and heavy. The walls seemed to close in, pulsing with that dark tension. An inkling of dread prickled at her skin. "Evelyn," Liam urged, fear flickering in his eyes as he struggled to keep Jonathan from slipping away into the darkness. "Whatever he says, don't believe it." The air vibrated as the dark figure stepped closer, amusement dancing across his lips. "Still fighting for the man who deceived you? How sweet." Evelyn's stomach churned. "Get away from him," she shouted, stepping forward instinctively. Though her body trembled, the idea of her husband lying there, broken, sent waves of fury surging through her veins. But before she could react, the shadows erupted. The door flew open with a deafening crash, and a flood of figures rushed into the room, guardians of the darkness, cloaked and ominous. They surrounded them, cutting off any avenue of escape. Panic punched in her chest like a hammer. "Stop them!" someone shouted. The new figures bore urgent expressions, eyes wide with desperation. They fanned out, trying to protect Evelyn and Liam. What were they doing here? Were they friend or foe? "Evelyn, listen!" Liam called, dragging her attention back to him. "They're here to help you. We need to get out now." She caught sight of the dark figure, his smile twisted. "Help her? You don't know what you're up against." And then, as if triggered by his words, the lights flickered violently. Shadows danced with frantic energy as a desperate scream broke free from the chaos. "Evelyn!" It was Mia, and she rushed forward, her grip on Thomas tightening, panic flashing in her wide eyes. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't know. I promise." Her voice wavered, and for a second, confusion overshadowed the chaos. What could she possibly mean? "I didn't know you'd come back. I thought it was all over." Mia cried, desperation leaking from her words. "Jonathan, he—" But before she could finish, another figure from the shadows took a step forward. Eyes locked on Mia with a ferocity that sent a chill down Evelyn's spine. This was no ordinary intruder. This was someone familiar. "Mia, stop. You need to tell her the truth about him." Mia's face blanched, a haunting look forming in her eyes. "What truth?" Evelyn pressed, feeling the edges of fear lap against her heart. "What are you hiding?" Then it hit her like a freight train. The way Mia had cradled Thomas, the fear radiating off her. She felt everything crumble inside. "Mia, what do you know?" Her voice trembled. The atmosphere was heavy, each heartbeat a countdown. Just as Mia opened her mouth, the dark figure lunged forward, slamming a fist into the wall and sending dust cascading onto them. Enough of this nonsense, but the figure behind him didn't relent. "Evelyn, listen to Mia. There's something you need to understand about your family." Then there was a crack of light, just a flicker, before everything went dark. And in that moment of darkness, the unimaginable happened. The wall behind them shattered, a blinding light exploding into the room. The sudden brightness revealed secrets hidden in the shadows. Jonathan's eyes widened, his expression morphing from confidence to sheer terror. Suddenly, everyone froze as a chilling voice rang out in the chaos. "You've awakened me, dear niece." A woman emerged from the light, stepping forward with an ethereal grace, her eyes sharp. Evelyn felt her heart drop. The resemblance was uncanny. "It must end here." "Who are you?" Evelyn gasped, stepping back. The room felt like it was collapsing under her disbelief. "I am the one your husband sold his soul to protect," the woman declared, locking eyes with Evelyn. "And it's time for you to choose. Embrace your power or lose everything." Evelyn's pulse thundered in her ears. All the lies, all the secrecy had led to this moment. Everything she thought she knew faltered as the shadows whispered around her, and the line between family and monster blurred. "Choose, Evelyn," the woman murmured, an unsettling smile curving her lips. The room pulsed with energy, and a question hung in the air, dark and foreboding. What would she sacrifice to save her son, and what legacy would she awaken in the process? Evelyn stood there, heart pounding in her chest, as the woman's words cut through her. Legacy? Power? What on earth did that mean? "Choose, Evelyn." Her uncle's voice dripped with darkness, each syllable wrapped in a sinister promise. "You are destined for greatness, but you need to embrace it. Join us or be crushed beneath the weight of it all." Confusion wove through her like a thick fog. She glanced at Liam, who was still on the floor, desperately tending to Jonathan, but his eyes burned with a fierce determination. "Evelyn, don't listen to him. He's using you." The shadows shifted, darkening the room. Panic surged, every breath a reminder of the chaos surrounding them. Evelyn turned to Mia, the babysitter. "Her protector? What do I do? What power are they talking about?" Mia's expression twisted with unresolved fear and regret. "Evelyn, it's not what you think. We're in the middle of something far more dangerous, a family secret bound in blood." Just then, Jonathan gasped, drawing everyone's attention. His eyes widened, scanning the room, as if searching for an escape. Evelyn, don't. You don't know what this is. His voice was barely above a whisper, tinged with urgency. But before Evelyn could respond, there was a blinding flash, a white light brighter than anything she had seen before. It erupted from behind her uncle, illuminating the room with an intensity that made her squint. A shockwave knocked everyone back, and the sound of shattering glass echoed as the chandelier overhead crashed to the floor, sending shards flying. Amidst the chaos and dust, a figure stepped forth from the blinding light. At first, she couldn't see clearly, but with every blink, the image solidified, and then, reality twisted in a way she could never have prepared for. Mother? The breath escaped her in a choked whisper, disbelief cracking through her heart. The woman who now stood before her, alive and radiant, yet hauntingly familiar, was her mother who had vanished years ago. The memories flooded back of long nights spent crying for her, searching for answers that had never come. How could she be here? Wasn't she gone? Evelyn, her mother said, voice wrapped in an ethereal calm. I had to come back. There's so much you don't know. About what? Evelyn's voice wavered, a trembling anger boiling inside her. Why did you leave? Was it because of him? Did you know? Her mother's gaze fell to Jonathan, and the air crackled with tension. I had to leave to protect you both, to protect the family from the truth. Jonathan's face twisted in anger. You had no right to come back after all these years. You left us. Right? She shot back, voice fierce. You took everything from us, Jonathan. You made choices without considering the consequences. Evelyn's mind raced, shadows swirling once more. This truth was rattling the very foundation beneath her. What are you talking about? What choices? The room held its breath. The answers hung thick as the air around them, the weight becoming unbearable. I had a pact with the darkness, her mother confessed, glancing at the figure, the separate threat advancing with a wretched delight in his eyes. I thought I could save you, but it came at a price I paid with my absence. The shadows twisted, whispering secrets only they could hear. What price? Evelyn pressed, every word a plea. I sacrificed myself to protect you both from something greater, something that wants to consume all of us, her mother continued, eyes shining with the truth they had long hidden from Evelyn. Suddenly an impossibility flickered in Evelyn's heart. It was a truth tainted with betrayal. The shadows shifted again, blacker than night. A new figure appeared behind her mother, and the moment froze. It was the same shape that had emerged from the darkness, looming with intentions veiled in malice. Mother, get away! Evelyn screamed, but it was too late. With a swift motion, her mother turned to face the figure, and then it happened. Sharp twist of fate, a flash of silver, and just like that, she was gone. Evelyn's scream shattered the air, the devastation crashing through her like a wave. No, no, no! Liam surged to his feet, confusion and rage dancing in his eyes. The shadow lingered, a mocking smirk crawling across his face. Welcome to the legacy, Evelyn. Time to embrace what you were born into. And just like that, her world spiraled into chaos again. She had fallen deeper into darkness than she could ever imagine, and the choice looming ahead was becoming perilously clear. How much was she willing to sacrifice to reclaim what was lost? Would she surrender to the shadows, or fight for the light? The answers were slipping through her, fingers like sand, and as the darkness beckoned, she could feel the weight of fate pressing ever closer. What would be her next move in this twisted game of legacies? Evelyn's heart screamed for her mother, but the shadows thickened, swirling around as if alive. She couldn't process the horror unfolding, the urgency, the chaotic energies fighting for dominance. One moment she had her mother, the next, her presence was just a whisper in the air. No, Evelyn cried, desperate hands reaching out toward the light that had swallowed her mother whole. But there was nothing left but emptiness. The room felt suffocating, the darkness pressing in around her. taunting her with what had just been taken away. "Evelyn," Liam shouted, a desperate urgency in his voice. He pushed himself up from the ground, eyes darting, trying to maintain control. "Get back! We need to get out of here, now!" But her feet felt glued to the floor. Confusion and rage filled her as fear twisted into something monstrous inside her. "You don't understand," she yelled back at Liam. "This isn't just about me, it's about—" But before she could finish, a low rumble, like thunder, echoed through the walls. It wasn't just noise. It vibrated through her bones, unsettling everything in its path, as if the very foundation of the manor was shifting. "What's happening?" Evelyn gasped. The walls seemed to tremble, shadows flickering as if they were in a dance with the darkness. Then, with a sudden, violent crash, a heavy beam from the ceiling broke loose, splintering and crashing down toward them. Screams erupted as everyone scattered. In the frenzy, Evelyn turned, her instincts screaming at her to run. But in the chaos, something odd caught her eye. Mia, still holding Thomas, was staring at a hidden door at the back of the room. A door she hadn't noticed before. Its presence felt out of time, shrouded in mystery. "Mia," Evelyn called, her voice cutting through the madness. "What do you see?" Mia's gaze was fixed on the door, her face pale. "It's not what it seems, Evelyn. We need to—" But the moment shattered. The dark figure lunged, grabbing Mia's arm and yanking her back. "No one is going anywhere." Evelyn's panic surged. "Let her go," she shouted, but the chaos drowned her pleas. The figure was strong, dragging Mia toward the shadows. Then all at once, the room was eerily quiet. The sounds of chaos faded, leaving just a low hum. Everybody paused, senses heightened, as if they could feel something unraveling. Evelyn caught a glimpse of the dark figure's face, its features suddenly shifting, twisting. She blinked in disbelief. It was Jonathan. But not Jonathan. This version smiled with a sinister glint, a deep cruelty shining in his eyes. "Everything you thought you knew, Evelyn," he drawled, voice thick with malice. "It's not just a game. This is real. This is blood." Evelyn felt her heart lurch. "What are you talking about? You can't be." Before she could finish, the beam that had crashed shook the ground once more, and chaos erupted again. A blinding light burst from the hidden door that Mia had been staring at. Evelyn felt it call to her like a magnet, something familiar, yet terrifying. And that's when it happened. A sudden rush of heat. Pieces of the room shifted, and without warning, someone burst through the light. "Ulysses!" Mia shrieked, dropping Thomas in shock as the figure emerged. But the very moment the name escaped her lips, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Evelyn's blood ran cold. Ulysses, her brother. The brother she had lost before she could remember. But how? How was he here? She barely recognized him. His eyes were dark, filled with shadows, as if he'd seen too much too soon. "I found you," he shouted, voice echoing, a strange mix of joy and pain. "Mia, you knew?" Evelyn's question crumbled out, realization crashing over her. "Wait, I didn't know," Mia exclaimed, backing away, eyes wide with fear. "But I felt it. I felt him. He was alive." Before Evelyn could process what was happening, Ulysses locked eyes with her. "I'm here to help you, Evelyn, but you have to trust me. Do you understand? You're in danger." "Danger?" Jonathan's twisted smile faltered, anger igniting his eyes. "You think you can stop me, Ulysses? You're just a ghost. You belong to the past." But Ulysses didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped forward, illuminating the darkness. Around them, the energy shifted, electricity crackling in the air. "I'm not just a ghost. I'm what you didn't expect." Before any of them could react, shadows surged as if in response to his words, engulfing everything around them. The room spun into chaos again, forming a whirlpool of confusion and despair. "Evelyn, make your choice now," Ulysses shouted through the tumult, his voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. "Embrace who you really are, or lose everything. And just like that, in the depths of swirling chaos, Evelyn felt the weight of fate pressing down like a tidal wave. She could either retreat into the shadows, or step into the light, with a truth that felt powerful yet terrifying. The choice lay heavy on her heart, and as her mind raced through possibilities, the shocking reality unfolded around her. Everything she thought she knew was just the beginning. What did it really mean to be a part of this twisted legacy? And what was waiting for her just beyond that door? Evelyn felt the weight of Ulysses's words smothering her, the air thickening with a thick fog of uncertainty. The shadows flickered as if they were alive, dancing around her, while Jonathan lay gasping on the floor, blood pooling beneath him. She was teetering on the edge of an impossible choice, her heart racing, and her mind racing faster. "Evelyn," Liam shouted, urgency coursing through his voice. "We need to move." Then it happened. A loud crack reverberated through the air, and the ceiling shuddered again, dust raining down as the entire structure seemed to groan in frustration. "Not now," Evelyn screamed, her voice barely escaping her throat as chaos threatened to engulf them. Then Ulysses stepped forward, and it was as if the shadows themselves parted for him. His eyes glinted with a strange power, a deep intensity that sent shivers down Evelyn's spine. "Trust me, Evelyn," he urged. Yet the atmosphere shifted again. Suddenly, the door Mia had pointed to burst open, a stream of light spilling out, illuminating the chaos with a blinding glow. There, standing in the doorway, was another figure, tall, regal, and cloaked in shimmering white. "Father," Evelyn breathed, disbelief clawing at her throat. Her father's presence was a revelation wrapped in a storm of shadows. He looked the same, but so different, an ethereal glow surrounding him that felt almost otherworldly. "What are you doing here?" she gasped, tears springing to her eyes. The facade of her family was cracking, everything she thought she knew shifting beneath her feet. "Evelyn," he said, his voice like warm honey laced with urgency. "You have to listen. Everything has been a lie." The shadows lurked behind him, but he pushed through them, determined. "This isn't just a family secret, it's a curse," and Jonathan sought to control it. Jonathan sputtered, eyes wide with shock. "No, you're not supposed to be here. You've got to listen to me." But Evelyn's focus was locked on her father. "What do you mean a curse?" "You are the key, Evelyn," he said, stepping closer, eyes glinting with sincerity. "It's you. The power flows from you, but it binds everyone around you." Mia's grip on Thomas tightened, her face pale as she considered the weight of those words. "Evelyn," she whispered, dread creeping into her voice. "Stay back," Jonathan barked, trying to crawl toward his father, desperation etched into every line of his face. "I can control it. I was chosen." "Chosen?" Evelyn scoffed, feeling the hurt surge within her. "Chosen to destroy everything?" But in the midst of the emotional whirlwind, a deafening silence fell upon them. Then the shocking twist hit. Ulysses, once a beacon of hope, suddenly faltered. "You have to understand, Evelyn. I'm not who you think I am." "What?" The words crashed into her like ice. His gaze became dark, a shadow of regret passing over his features. "I'm not just your brother. I was meant to be the one to contain it, not free it. I did something terrible to protect you." Her breath caught. "What do you mean?" Murmurs broke out among the group, every glance sharp with suspicion. And just like that, Ulysses revealed the truth that shattered Evelyn's heart. "I made a deal. I'm bound to them, to the darkness." A gasp echoed through the room. Liam shouted, "No, you can't." But Ulysses continued, his voice grave. "I was the sacrifice, Evelyn. I didn't choose this. They used me. You have to take my place. You have to accept it, embrace it." "No," Evelyn shrieked, panic exploding. "I won't. You're lying. You can't just throw away everything precious to bind me." But darkness began to swirl, closing in, and Evelyn felt the weight of the revelation suffocating her. "You were supposed to be my protector." She could see the shadows reaching for him, pulling him closer, threatening to swallow him whole. "No, I won't let them take you." Tears streamed down her face, but Ulysses shook his head. the betrayal carving lines into his expression. I'm already lost, Evelyn. I need you to face this darkness. I need you to fight. With a final surge, the shadows rushed forward, claiming Ulysses in. A flash of darkness that took Evelyn's breath away. Evelyn stood there, stunned. A chill of despair gripped her heart as she faced Jonathan, the body laying limp, Thomas crying, and the truth unraveling around her. How can I fight this? The shadows twisted closer, whispering secrets she couldn't comprehend. What do I have to do? And as the darkness deepened, her world shifted yet again. This was only the beginning, and the question lingered, haunting like a specter. What was the true cost of the legacy she was born into? Would she become the very monster Ulysses tried to contain? Or could she forge a new path amid the shadows? Evelyn felt the intensity of the moment, a storm of emotions swirling within her. The truth hung heavily in the air, the shadows swirling like predators sensing their prey. She could still see Ulysses, her brother, lost to the darkness he had tried to contain. Panic squeezed her heart like a vice, but with a fierce resolve she stepped forward, determination igniting within her. Enough, she shouted, each word slicing through the chaos. All of you, you think you control this? Us? Her voice shook with conviction, tears pooling in her eyes. I may be tied to this legacy, but I refuse to let it own me. Ulysses fought for me, and I will fight for him. Jonathan's twisted gaze faltered, surprise slipping through his dark facade. You don't understand the power you're tampering with, he hissed, desperation creeping into his tone. Maybe not, she replied, trembling but unyielding. But I know what love is, real love. The kind that breaks curses, not binds them. A ripple passed through the shadows. Ulysses' words echoed in her mind. Embrace your power. Evelyn looked back at her father, desperately seeking his approval. Help me, she pleaded. But he could only nod, pride glimmering through the sorrow in his eyes. Light surged from the open door behind them, urging her to push forward. Igniting her strength, steeling herself, she extended her hands toward the dark figure that had once been Jonathan and felt warmth flow through her palms. She stepped into the light, filling it with her pain, her love, her memories of Ulysses and family lost. Not today, she cried, channeling every ounce of courage as the shadows whipped around her, drawn toward the light. The dark figure screamed, a wretched sound that echoed through the manor, but Evelyn held firm. The light flared, blinding in its intensity, filling every corner of the room. Evelyn could feel Jonathan's darkness clawing at her. Furious, desperate, but she wouldn't relent. Lifting her chin, she unleashed a fierce proclamation. You're not taking anyone else. This ends now. The shadows screeched in fury, racing toward her, but the light burst forth, engulfing them. The walls trembled, thunder rumbling in response. Evelyn's heart thundered in tandem, beating for Ulysses, for her family. Mia, hold Thomas tight. With a flash, the shadows crashed against the brightness, dissipating like smoke drawn into a flame. Jonathan, caught mid-sentence, dissolved into shadows, his eyes wide with shock. And then the darkness receded, leaving a stillness that broke sharply into the realm of reality. Evelyn blinked, breathless, her heart hammering in her chest. The room was suddenly quiet. The ghostly whispers of shadows faded, replaced by the gentle cooing of Thomas in Mia's arms. Her father stepped forward, an anchor of support. You did it, he said, voice thick with emotion. You broke the cycle. Slowly, the warm light faded, revealing Liam, who had rushed to her side, eyes glistening with tears. You're so brave, he marveled, pulling her in for a tight embrace. I knew you could do it. She pulled back, looking around the room. Everything felt different now. The air lighter, the oppressive weight of shadows lifted. Ulysses' absence gnawed at her heart, but in his sacrifice she found a flame of hope igniting. Mia, how's Thomas? Evelyn asked gently. Mia nodded, relief washing over her features. He's okay. He's safe. Her eyes shone with gratitude and budding friendship. Evelyn turned to her father one last time. We have a lot to rebuild, don't we? Together, he affirmed, a warm smile breaking through the remnants of grief. As they stood in the nursery, Sworn enemies turned allies. The world dimmed beyond the manor, retreating into silence. They would navigate their power, respect the legacy now focused on light, and honor those they had lost. Evelyn's heart, once tangled in shadows, was now resolute, shaped by love, fierce and unwavering. With a family rekindled, they could forge a new destiny, one bright with hope. And as they stepped forward into the unknown, a pulse of possibility thrummed in the air. You have to subscribe right now. Don't be the only one missing the next exclusive stories that unravel. Smash that like button right now. Every click feeds the algorithm to keep these tales alive. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this intense finale. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. Show your support today. Real fans understand the importance of keeping the story alive.